What is up, book nerds? My name is Hillary, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the books that I read in February. Here is the stack of books that I was supposed to read in February. They are 7 books, all of different genres. The month of January for me was a slow month, and plus it's a shorter month, and I had a hard time getting through a bunch of these books. But let's get into see what books that I did read this month. For the prompt classic, the book that I was supposed to read was The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton, and I did read this book. The Outsiders is about a group of friends called the Greasers, and it's a story told in Ponyboy's point of view and the stuff that him and his family has gone through over the years. This book was a fun read. It was sad, it was short, and at some parts in the book I was wishing there was more, but I love this book and I really enjoyed it. For the prompt book with magic, I was supposed to read A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab, and I did not get to this one. I am actually very sad that I didn't get to this one. I started it, but just could not get fully invested into the story, and I think when I do read it, it has to be a time that I'm in the mood for it. For the prompt historical fiction, I was supposed to read The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, and I did not get to this. This was also one that I did start, but just couldn't get into it. I don't know if it's because I'm not a historical fiction person or what, but I might try this another time, and if I don't get into it at that point, then I think it'll be time for me to put it on an unhaul pile. The next prompt that I was supposed to read was LGBTQ plus prompt, and the book that I picked for that one was The Lost Book of the White by Cassandra Clare and Wesley Chu. This book I did read, and it was a fun read. I always have a fun time reading the Shadowhunter books. This one wasn't one of my favorites, even though I love Magnus and Alec as characters, but I did like the first one, which is The Red Scrolls of Magic, and this book was in, it's hard to explain, but Alec and Magnus has their son Max already, and they are trying to save Magnus's friend. I can't think of the friend's name right now, but they're trying to save him because he is under a spell to where he is being controlled by one of the princes of hell and another warlock also who is trying to control him. And this was a fun read, but I wish it was more like The Red Scrolls of Magic. The next prompt that I picked was a book gifted to you, and the book that I was supposed to read for that prompt was Dear Edward by Anne Napolitano, and I did read this one. I actually annotated it, and I loved this book. This is about a boy whose name at the beginning is Eddie, that's what his family calls him, and he is in this horrific plane accident with 183 passengers, and he is the only sole survivor of that plane crash. When he gets out of the hospital, he goes home with his aunt, who is his mother's sister, and lives with her and her husband. But he does not want to be called Eddie anymore. He wants to be called Edward. So he decides to go on with his life in a way, and meets a friend who is the neighbor to his aunt where he's living now, and they start doing like investigative work, and he don't want to know anything about the crash. But a year or two after the crash, he finds this suitcase in his aunt and uncle's garage, and it's a suitcase full of letters from the victim's family, and they're all written to Edward, and they want him to either just write back, or like one of them was, go and become a photographer, take pictures of everything, go be a doctor, and so on and so forth. But in a way, these letters helped him heal in time. And by the time you get to the end of the book, him and his friend, they decide to go and visit the memorial where the plane crashed. And in this book, you're going every other chapter of present day Edward and the day of the plane crash and what all happened and how the plane crash happened. This was a very emotional book, but I do believe it really shows you how everybody deals with grief in their own ways, because you're watching Edward go through it and you're watching his aunt go through grief in her own way. The next prompt that was on this list was pick a book from your 2022 list, and the book that I picked from that list was Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. And I did not get to this book. Like the other books, I started it, and I don't know if it's just the writing or what, but I could not get into the book, and I've heard mixed reviews about it, so it doesn't make me excited to read it. But like The Nightingale, if I try and start this again and don't like it, then it's going to end up going on my unhaul pile. The last prompt that I picked for my February TBR was a memoir or true story, and the book that I picked for this one was a reread for me, and that is Waiting to be Heard by Amanda Knox. This is a story by Amanda Knox about her life over in Italy and what she went through when she was accused of murdering her roommate Meredith, and her time in prison and when she was found guilty of murdering her roommate, but then the aftershock of, for a little bit of the aftershock of when she was found acquitted for the murder because she actually didn't do it and they know who did it. And this was a great reread for me, and I loved it as much as the first time I read it, and can't praise about it enough. Even though I only read 4 of the books on my list for this month, I am reading another book, which I will finish before this video comes out. I am filming this on the 23rd of this month, and I should have it finished by tomorrow. And that book is House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. This is the second book in the Crescent City series, and this book takes place right after the first book, and it's about Hunt and Bryce and their life after Hunt is freed from his job that he's supposed to do because he has to do it because he was a prisoner, and Bryce's life after she does the draft and becomes princess, and a friend of theirs comes and wants them to help them in a rebellion, and Hunt isn't too excited about it, but you're gonna watch them and see what happens with their life. And I am loving this book so far. I have like 170 something pages left to read of this book, and I can't wait to see what happens at the end. If you want to know more about what I thought of this book, go check out my reading vlog that should be going up after this video comes out. That is it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and if you want to know when I'm posting, hit that subscribe and that notification bell, and you will be notified when my next video comes up. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Bye!